Your mic is on, sir.
Okay. All right, so we're going to get started here. So we're going to get started for one of our daily briefings during the time of Corona and a lot more. So I think let me begin with a couple of things. We have some folks gathered here today who've been hard at work on a lot of things with respect to our seniors. That's going to be our deep dive topic for today. Obviously, there's a lot of other things going on around our city and our state and around the country. So what we're going to do is, I think, first and foremost, our city has to keep running. We all have to keep doing the various jobs that we're passionate about. And we have to keep helping everyone, and that includes seniors. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. But, I want to acknowledge, obviously, there's a lot of other things going on. So we're going to talk a little bit about Corona. We're going to talk a little bit about the protests last night, and then we're going to talk about seniors. And I think I would, just as a heads up, this is probably what it's going to be like for several weeks, if not months, in that we are going to continue to run our city, continue to do the things that we can to help everyone in Albuquerque, and we're going to continue to address what's happening in terms of social justice issues and also public health issues. So we are committed to doing all of that as the city of Albuquerque. So let's demonstrate a little of that today. Let me start with some health updates from our Joint Information Center. And Monday, June 8th, we're going to have drive-through testing at Loveless Medical Center. And that is going to change going forward to Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 7 a.m. to noon. That's the Loveless testing facility right off Martin Luther King. Also, First Nations up in the International District is going to be offering free testing this Saturday, June 6th, and that's going to be 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. There's also going to be testing available at their Truman Clinic, which is 625 Truman Northeast, and that's the same time frames. So some ways you can get some testing there. Now I want to share a little bit about last night in our city. We had a couple of protests last night, of course, several groups protesting. They gathered yesterday evening around UNM and also around downtown Albuquerque for a protest that remained peaceful. And I think it was a good demonstration of both the issues and the voices that need to be heard, but also of peace. And so for us, in total, let's say roughly around 500 people, again, demonstrating peacefully in a couple of different locations around our city. There were no related arrests last night. There were some reports of graffiti at city and county buildings. And as usual, APD is prepared. If there is any violence or significant damage, they were on standby if needed, and otherwise respected the right to protest. A couple of other things that I do want to touch on connecting two major issues. I want to remind folks that residents who are participating in protesting and so forth, I do want to remind folks that it's obviously critical to speak out against racial injustice. We urge everyone to carry this out peacefully. Also, though, want to remind folks that because of Corona, it would be great if folks could try and also get tested here and there. So if you're participating in these mass gatherings, please try and also get tested. And we'll talk a little bit more about how to do that. And also remember, if you have vulnerable family members, it could just be very dangerous if you happen to get Corona and then also spread it to someone who's vulnerable. Now, also, we are having our Human Rights Board meeting. We've convened our Human Rights Board. Our city has some formal institutions that are dedicated to changing institutions. These are groups that have been set up and have been accelerated and empowered over the last few years by our administration, and we need them now more than ever. And one very important one is our Human Rights Board. That was established to give a public voice in terms of fighting racism and discrimination and all forms of prejudice. And that's something that our administration has reinvigorated over the last few years. And it is holding a special meeting tonight to discuss the latest developments in terms of Black Lives Matter and other protests all across the country and locally. That's happening tonight at 4:30 to 7:30. Of course, our city is dedicated to following the public health orders. So this is a Zoom meeting, but you can also watch it on our 1ABQ Media YouTube channel, and also on the channel changes. I think it's channel 16 on cable news. If you want to make public comment, by the way, we already have hundreds of people who are signed up for this. And if you want to make public comment, we're doing our best to accommodate that. Please call 768-4595 if you want to register for public comment. And again, that's the standard procedure that is always used just to accommodate the volume of comment that I know folks definitely want to share tonight. Okay, now a couple of other items, just a city services update. I want to remind folks that we are committed to the safety net that Albuquerque has been providing during Corona. Our city has been a leader in terms of taking care of those who are most vulnerable. That includes our most vulnerable communities. Huge part of that is the summer meal program. Our city provides tens of thousands of meals over the course of the summer to those who need it most. These are a lot of low-income communities, and we're continuing that. It started Monday, I believe. I want to check. It's this Monday or next Monday. So it's already happening, and this is happening at 60 locations all across the city. Look on cabq.gov or call 311 for more information. Libraries also reopened with limited service yesterday, and want to remind folks that our other facilities are continuing to reopen over this week and next week. Our environmental health department is doing restaurant inspections to get our restaurants back up and running. We have expanded staff right now to do that. We also have our fire and rescue team, which of course is in charge of the fire marshal's office. They are doing expanded capacity testing for businesses such as barbershops and nail salons because of the, again, limitation on their capacities and the certification that's required from the fire marshal's office to do that. Also, Balloon Fiesta Park is reopening for daily users. You can just Google Balloon Fiesta Park. There's different things, including golf and so forth, that's being used for that. Again, another one of our city facilities reopening. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about why we're here today. Again, we want to continue to invest in our community. In this case, we are out at Palo Duro Senior Fitness Center. This is an area, it is actually one of our lower income areas in the community, and it is traditionally sort of the oldest part of the Northeast Heights. But again, it is an area that has historically had very high crime and deep poverty challenges. And so we continue to invest in our low income neighborhoods. This one is right by McKinley Middle School, for those of you who need kind of a geographic reference. And so what we're doing is our senior programs, which have been a tremendous help. In our city, we have stepped up for our seniors for decades. We continue to do that. Senior fitness becomes more and more important. Right now, obviously, these facilities are closed, but it's also a great time to expand them. So when they're open, we can fit a lot more folks. This historically has been a tiny facility for like a dozen people. And so we want to make sure that it can accommodate as many seniors as possible. And again, these are typically low-income seniors who can't afford things like Define Fitness and other things like that. And so we are expanding 2,000 additional square feet behind me for group fitness classes and low-income senior fitness programs. And again, exercise is important with respect to heart disease and diabetes. It's also important with respect to independence for these seniors. And so I want to introduce one of our great state partners to talk more about this, the Deputy Cabinet Secretary for Aging and Long-Term Services, Buffie Saavedra. Come on up.
I'm a lot shorter than our mayor. Hi everyone, good morning. My name is Buffie Saavedra and I'm a lifelong Albuquerquean. Such a pleasure to be here. I'm actually one of the outputs of the programs that we have with the city of Albuquerque. I was a Parks and Rec child. I went to East San Jose Community Center my entire childhood, and I'm the daughter of Kiki Saavedra, who was actually head of all of Parks and Rec way back in the day. And so I'm just so pleased for this opportunity. The Aging and Long-Term Services Department, via the state of New Mexico's general fund dollars for capital outlay, actually provided over $918,000 for this project. Over the years, we have actually, in this area for Palo Duro, it's been a little bit over $2.8 million of funding. So that's a lot of money that's gone toward all of these important programs for not only seniors, but for children and others alike. So all sorts of opportunities for families to get involved. You know, our state is one of the states that has an approaching senior population that will be one of the highest in the country. We already have a very high population of seniors. And when you say seniors, that includes me. I'm 52. We're talking 50 plus for this center. I would love to come and utilize it when we get to open, when it expands, because I think it's so important. And my dad always taught us to stay in shape, to be active. I do that with my grandson. We always go on walks and hikes, and what is, you know, maybe a mile is 20 miles to him with his little legs. And so the earlier we start developing these wellness habits, the better off we are. Those of you that are 50 plus out there that live in the Palo Duro community, we are just so excited for when we get through and get to a point of reopening that you'll have this wonderful facility that our great partners at the City of Albuquerque's Department of Senior Affairs have promoted and gotten the funding for, and now we're going to utilize it to expand. So I want to thank Mayor Keller and everyone else for all of the partnerships, the continued service to our seniors for grab-and-go lunches, home-delivered meals, all of those wonderful opportunities that are going on now in lieu of COVID, and we hope someday soon we'll have congregate meals again, you know, when we're able to and it's safe. So thank you all very much for your time. And let me see who is following me. I think I'm going to have State Representative Christine Trujillo come up. And I'm honored to meet Ms. Trujillo, since my dad had also served. And I don't think a lot of people know, but our legislators are volunteers, so they don't get paid to do all of the hard work that they do. And I just want to thank you, Ms. Trujillo. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm so glad to be here. This is my district, House District 25, and this is a senior center that my husband and I come to, mostly him. And it's his, he comes and exercises here because he meets his friends, and then, as I was telling someone earlier, then they have an excuse to go and eat breakfast somewhere else. So the reality is, I don't think he gets that much exercise except for chit-chat. But I am really proud to be here. I think this particular senior center has needed to expand for a long time. And now, due to the coronavirus, those of us who are seniors are expanding as well. And so this will be we'll put this senior center to good use. And I think that the investment that the city has made in this particular area is going to be extremely beneficial for the residents, because we do need more exercise, we do need more facilities, and this is an opportune time to get it. I hope you all stay safe. I hope you use the facilities once they're open, and I welcome you to my district. Thank you so much. And now back to Mayor Keller.
Okay, next up we're going to hear from our Director of Senior Affairs and the woman behind the successful senior games last year. Let me try and give you a little help on there you go, a little help on the mic. Director Ana Sanchez.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm so excited to be here today to celebrate this expansion of the Palo Duro Senior Fitness Facility. This is really important during these times, as mentioned before, to have these types of projects underway. That way we can make our community better for our seniors during this time. Now, this facility, this senior fitness facility, actually sees about 160 individuals age 50 and older every day during normal times. And now this new space is going to provide us with those group classes that we need to have for Zumba, TRX training, and Tai Chi, the one thing that my mother is truly missing at this time. But this also adds to our activities that our sports and fitness programs normally put on. We have adaptive aquatics, we usually have our hiking programs, our walking clubs. All this information can be found on our website, and we encourage folks to look into these resources for their loved ones. And during this time, I'm also proud of our sports and fitness team, because during our pick up and go meal sites, we've been providing exercise sheets, we've been posting stretching and exercise videos on our Facebook page. Please join us at CABQ Seniors to learn more about those types of resources. And we couldn't be more appreciative to the mayor for being involved in our senior programs and projects such as this one. Just a week ago, he went out and delivered care packages and home delivered meals to some of our folks in our community. So thank you, Mayor. And also, of course, Aging and Long-Term Services and the state for their support, APS for this collaboration, for being here at this location, as well as our city counterparts, the Department of Municipal Development, and of course, Consolidated Builders and FBT Architects for their support to get this project underway and going. Any senior that needs our help, is looking for services or programs, please contact us at 764-6400. That is our Senior Information Assistance line, or visit us on the website at cabq.gov/seniors. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you so much, Anna. And the last thing I want to add on this is also, this is part of our city's effort to accelerate construction during the time of Corona. So we're trying to push forward $70 million with the projects and also keep folks working. A lot of this is about economic stimulus to lift up Albuquerque during a tough time. And you're going to see this with all of these great construction folks who are going to be working on this. So let me close, I think, with just one more note about what's happening around the country and our city. And I just want to remind everyone that we really hope that Albuquerque can carve its own path. Not all cities are the same, and one thing we have always known is that Albuquerque is very unique. And in some ways, we are better than other cities. We saw this, frankly, during Corona. Our rates of how good our hospital system did and is doing, our spread rates, we outperformed many, many major cities around the country, and that's a good thing. And I think it's a recognition of how much we respect this city. And I think so far also we have done a much, much better job of addressing the issues at hand with respect to injustice, but also, again, keeping each other safe. And so I hope that Albuquerque continues to actually be, relatively speaking, we are a little bit better than other cities on both of these issues. And we were before, and we are now, and I hope we're going to continue to be. So with that, we also want to honor some traditions. And so even in times of challenge, we should honor a groundbreaking. So we're going to do this in a socially distanced way. And I think either Johnny, you want to kind of organize folks. So man, take up your shovels and we'll take a picture and do a quick countdown.
Mayor will have you front and center.
Grab yourself, get your shovel in, and then we'll count 3, 2, what? Oh, you just kind of dump it out front. You can pick and choose. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right. And do another one there and just hold it up there for folks. Thanks for the claps. Thanks so much, you guys. We'll look forward to opening this soon. Thank you.